Hey guys, welcome back to SRE Customs. I'm having some tough time, but I'm trying to take my mind off it by doing what I love to do, which is wrench. So here's a Raminator engine that I'm starting. I have stripped it down to the bare case. I've done case porting. Now, here is the cylinder that I have modified. I want you to get a good look at that. You can see I have the epoxy there. I went through. Not a problem. Happens all the time. There's the exhaust port. That's my traditional shape. You guys know it well. I've raised the cylinder 70 thousandths to get my timings where I want them, and then cut the top of this to get the squish and the compression back. Now, here's my modified, I guess call them cog motors. These 49cc engine. You can see the work on the sides. You can see the openings, the arch on the bottom. Very much lightened work done. And here's the bottom of a stock one. Right there, you can get a look and see kind of the difference. You know, the difference of the shapes. This is the brand new piston that come out of this engine. You know, okay. So now I am starting to work on lightening the clutch. Now the clutch is one of the big problems on this engine. The engagement is so low. Okay, so instead of cranking up the spring, which makes the engine have to rev higher all the way through the band and causes slippage, what I like to do is leave the factory spring and then lighten the clutch shoe, okay? Where you get that kind of, I don't know if you guys have ridden snowmobiles, where you get that run, and then it kicks in like that. That's what this does. And it works very, very well. I'm shooting for somewhere in around an 8,500 engagement, which is very high. This is the stock cylinder. Give you kind of a peeky poo here of the side stock cylinder. You can see no boost ports at all. Okay, and here's my cylinder. We'll set them up side by side. You know, I mean, there is just no comparison. I mean, sorry guys, I'm doing the best I can setting them up for you. I mean, look at the size of the transfer ports. Look at these extra transfer ports that are not in this cylinder. You can see I've dropped the center down, which creates more open area. Now the big secret, well, it's not a secret, but the big thing that I'm doing to this engine is I am getting rid of this putrid. And when I say putrid, this thing is horrible. It is the stock reed cage, and I mean horrible. You can't move enough air through this thing to do I mean, I did Painter Dave's with it, and it did respond. It woke up well, but there is so much more. So, guys, we're gonna go ahead and take this to the next level. We are gonna run this lightened piston. We are gonna run my cut up cylinder, my ported cylinder, raised 70 thousandths. We're going to use this removable dome, and we are going to change the bubble volume and the squish radius so that it matches the piston, so we can get the piston tighter without any contact. And the other thing we're doing is we're getting rid of this disgusting pork chop crank, or anchor crank, or I don't know, whatever you guys want to call it. It's just putrid. It's not the hot setup, but I would like to introduce the hot setup for these particular engines. And this is a full circle crankshaft that you can get cheap. It's not a big deal. I lightened the rod. You know, some people are against that. I'm not. The piston weight will never bust this rod. It is a hardened rod. Now, there's some other things we can do to this crank. We can machine some turbo vanes into the crank. Don't really know if I'm going to do that yet. I think with what we've got here, we are going to have a monster. It's going to have a WJ71 carburetor mounted to this new 6-pedal reed cage. By the way, very lightweight wrist pin. You can see how thin that wrist pin is. That's another little doodad that I've added. And this carburetor, it is a good carburetor, but it only comes with the high speed. Now, there is a guy out there, they are available with low and high, but they're still only 15 millimeter. Okay, guys? And if you want to turn this engine, let's say 16, 17,000 RPM, which if I can turn a 62 Scopod 15.8, I can get this 49 with a full circle crankshaft to go to 16,000 with the proper pipe, which will have to be built. I will make the pipe. I'm going to radically alter the flywheel. +2 degree key to start. That may change depending on if I think that way up in the RPM range, if it needs to be backed back down 2 degrees, which sometimes happens, and you get more mile an hour. In other words, you do get more RPM. So we're gonna cut this base open right there where that reed cage goes on, and we're gonna put a 6-pedal versus the factory 2-pedal arrangement here, which is made of metal reeds, not carbon. I really don't like them. They're really not the hot setup. They flutter at